let's wrap up Deck of TBR-a-thon. For the month of July, I participated in Becca Books and Bujo, as well as Chloe from Always Booked. I participated in their Deck of TBR-a-thon that went on throughout July. The rules were pretty simple. It was basically you draw a card from a deck of cards, and that corresponds to a bunch of different prompts that they had set up, and you could choose to either get 1 point, 3 points, or 5 points, depending on the prompt that goes along with that certain card. I think I only got like 5 points once or twice. I didn't get a ton of points overall, but I just kind of wanted to break it down, see how I did and everything. I set up a whole spreadsheet. I had all of these different books possibilities listed out for almost every single prompt that they had, and I just didn't get through a lot of books this past month, and that's okay. Part of it, I watched pretty much all of Becca Books and Bujo. I watched all of her daily vlogs throughout July, and I felt like she wasn't reading very much because she was literally moving during the month of July, packing up her entire house and then moving at the very end. And she also has 3 kids to take care of, and one of them's a newborn. So I don't know. I felt like watching her not read made it okay that I wasn't reading, even though I don't have as much of an excuse to not read, but it's fine. Let's see how we did. I started out with pulling 3 cards at the top because I wanted to have options of what I could start with and then just kind of wiggle my way around. So let's see. The first book I finished was, I pulled a 4, and that is for author, and I decided to get 5 points, yay, by doing an author that has written more than 10 books. So I read Emily Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life. That was so good. It was our book club pick for June. I did finish it like July 2nd, but I got a whole 5 points from that. It was very, very good. I did read like a bulk of it in July anyway. Definitely a bit different of a feel than other Emily Henry romancy books. Still has romance in it, but it's much more contemporary, and I really like her writing style of that. If you are wanting just a fun, mushy-gushy romance story, I wouldn't pick up this one. I would pick up maybe one of her other romance books, but this one still has that romance feel to it, but it felt so good. And that's really why I like Emily Henry's writing, is that it's romance books that are more depth behind them. They have more going on than just here's a cute romance that's happening. It's a lot of dealing with their own personal lives and their relationships, whether it's with family or friends or their own personal journey and struggle. And that's why I really like it. So I got a whole 5 points from that. Yay. And then the next book was, I got a Jack, which is word in the title. And I decided to get 3 points from this, which is a 1-word title. And I read Ozland by Wendy Spinelli. This is the 3rd in the Everland series. I had read the first 2, and then I wanted to read this 3rd one. And I was like, perfect. I got a Jack. I'll read that one so then I can be finished with that series. And I got about 30% of the way through, and I said, I'm not liking this. I'm really hating a lot of what's happening, and it's really bad. I really liked the first one, and then the second one was fine, and I finished it. And then I was like, I just want to see how the series ends, and I did not like it. I did get 50% of the way through, so I could count it for points, and then I DNF'd it because I could not take it anymore. The next one was, I pulled a 2, which I also went for 3 points. I did Catch-Up-a-thon, which is to read any book of the month book. I don't use book of the month anymore, and I don't have any book of the month books unread still that I own. And so they were like, you can do literally just like any book that has been a book of the month before or anything like that. And I have a lot of fairy loots, and I looked up and quite a few of my fairy loots have also been book of the month books. So the one that I read and finished first was Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. Very happy that this counted for that, and very happy that I read it and finished it because she's pretty chunky. I really liked this. It's toxic lesbian vampires. Some people have problems with some of the plot. It felt very just atmospheric. I was just gripped. and just in this slow-paced book like the whole time. It's not even that slow paced, but it feels like nice and slow, and I'm glad that I kind of took my time reading it. But I still read it pretty fast. For an over 500 page book, I read it in less than 2 weeks, and that's pretty big for me. So we got a whole 3 points from that. And then the next thing that I drew, I don't know if I drew these, if I'm saying these how I actually drew them in order. I'm just saying how I finished reading them. Next one was an 8, which is book in a series. I again went with 3 points, and that is to continue a series. I was not at a point where I had anything that would finish a series besides Ausland, but we had already finished and done that and pulled a different card for that. I decided to continue on a series, and I continued on the Empyrean series, Iron Flame, because I had borrowed it from my friend, and I had borrowed it like a while ago. I read Fourth Wing in like December last year, and I borrowed it pretty soon after. I still hadn't read it, so I said, I'm gonna finally read this and get this back to you. I really enjoyed the first book, and I was really trying to enjoy the second book. It really has second book energy to me, and I think it was just like, I was kind of demystified. I really am not liking Violet and Xaden's relationship and how they kind of treat each other and treat that relationship together in the book. I just wasn't a fan. I didn't know where we were going for a lot of it. There was a lot of sex scenes that just happen randomly that have no point. I have no problem with having a sex scene in a fun fantasy book like that, but pick your timing a little bit better, because it was just like all of a sudden now we're doing that. And I'm like, there are other more important things that we should be focusing on, but I digress. We got 3 points from that. That was another chunky book. It was over 600 pages, and I finished that also in the same month. It's a 500 page book. I'm pretty proud of myself. That's probably why I also felt like I didn't read that much in July, because I only finished about 7 books or so, but I did finish quite a lot of reading because 2 of them alone got me over 1,000 pages read. I pulled a 3 and I read a novel love story, and that got me through 1 point. Got me 1 point. I just read it because I had pulled the card and I was like, okay, like I can use that for a lot of different things because it's for release year. And I only got 1 point for it because I had just checked it out from the library and I was like, oh, I hope this goes with whatever card I pull. And it's release year, and you only get 1 point for books that were from 2000 to 2024, 3 points if it's before 2000, and then 5 points if it was this year. And unfortunately, it came out just last year, so I only got 1 point from it. But I really enjoyed that book. I thought it was really, really cute. I really like Ashley Poston's writing a lot of the time, especially with some of her newer things. Reading this book makes me really want to read her newer one that's kind of similar to it, which is Sounds Like Love. So I'm excited for that. And then I pulled another 3. This is where I got confused because I had double 3s. I pulled another 3 and I got 3 points from it this time because I read a book that came out before 1999. It was published in 1900 and it's The Wizard of Oz. I read this for our play that we're doing this year is Wizard of Oz, so I wanted to read the original source material, see if I glean anything from it to add to our production, as well as I just kind of like to know my base material, especially for doing a play that's based on a book. I like to do my research. I read this, got a whole 3 points. It's a rather short book, longer than you would think. It was still like 200 pages, but rather short book. And there's a lot of pictures, so it goes by very fast. Like lots of fun pictures, so that makes it nice. Another one that I had was an ace. I forgot, I pulled an ace, which is a free pick. You get 5 points no matter what book it is. And this was pulled pretty early in the month, and I knew I needed to read our book club pick for the month of July. And I was like, well, I'll put it here because I don't think it matched a lot of the other prompts for things. And I was like, I might as well put it here because I know it's one that I need to read this month and I might as well get 5 points from it. And so that was Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. I did really enjoy that one. That one was very, very cute. Bit of a sad ending, and that wasn't great, but I still really liked it. I thought it was good. It wasn't like mind-boggling amazing, I don't think, but I still really enjoyed it. And then I did pull 2 more cards for books that I am currently reading, but I just didn't finish them in the month of July, so they're not going to count towards any points. That's okay. However, one of them was a 2 that I pulled towards pretty close to the beginning. 2 is monthly readathon, so I got another catch-up-a-thon, another book of the month book, which is The Teller of Small Fortunes. I pulled this pretty early on. I started reading it and I just kept not picking it up because I think I pulled 2 2s at once, and so I had 2 book of the month books that I could read. And it was this one and Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. That one gripped me faster, takes a lot longer to read than this little one, and I just kept not coming back to this one. But I am coming back to it now. I'm halfway done. I'm going to finish this book in August, hopefully like within a week or so. But I am enjoying it. It just didn't count for any of the points. It would have counted for 3, but that's okay. And then another one was another 8. I feel really bad because I feel like I didn't pull a lot of different cards. I had a lot of like similar cards over and over again. C'est la vie. I had another 8, which is another book in a series. I again wasn't in a position to have a book that would finish a series, so I went with another 3 points, which would be to continue a series, and that is Siege and Storm. It is the second in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. Almost halfway done with it. I'm really enjoying it. That's a good time. I ended up reading 7 books. 7. There are 7 books that I submitted for this TBR-a-thon. However, only finished 6 of them, got 50% of the way through one and DNF'd it, so 7 books were logged, and that got me 23 points in total. Not as many points as I thought I would get. I did have a 1-pointer, I had a lot of 3-pointers here and there, and only 2 5-pointers, so it wasn't amazing, but that's okay. I still really enjoyed it, and I would want to do this again and just kind of challenge myself to just next year I do better than I did this year. And I think that's fine. I do think I joined the Discord, and I think I got really overwhelmed with all of the people that, like, it was literally day 2 and people were like, on my 3rd book, and I was like, I haven't even finished 1. What do you mean you're on your 3rd? What do you mean? I am doing a bunch of different readathons still coming up. I'm doing a new one for August, as well as I'm going to be sharing the rest of my summer TBR. I started it at the beginning of June, just kind of showing here are all the books that I want to read for the summer months, June, July, and all the way through the end of August, because it's still summer even though I'm back to school. And I'm going to just kind of show a wrap up of all of those things. And then you will see a fall TBR also coming in late August, early September. Try to see if I can read all of those books as well. Who knows? We'll see. And with that, I'll see you next time.